Welcome back to another video. Been a couple weeks, but this this shit ain't about quantity. It's about quality, okay? And even though I have a little list of things I want to talk about, some days I just don't feel like talking. Um, and some days I'll think to make a video, and then my phone will almost be dead, so I'm like, shit, I gotta charge it. And then while it's charging, I'll go do something else, and then I'll forget. But anyway, the topic of today's video is relationships are not worth it. At least not today. Back in the day, sure, but what do I mean? Let's get right into it. So, if you're into MGTOW or the red pill or whatever, you already know what I'm talking about, right? Divorce rates sky high, and you could say those are skewed because people who get remarried, they get re-divorced, and then they get married again, then divorced. So yeah, that can skew the numbers. But I'm here to tell you my experience. Not even really my experience, because I've only really been with a gal back when I was 13, right? And we were together for a year. And even then, we were just teenagers. Uh, I haven't had sex in over a decade. That's just how it is. And I think it's saved me a lot of fucking trouble. I'm too horny for this shit. Anyway, so it's not really my experience, but it's what I've seen happen to other people. So I'm going to go down a list. All right. My friend that I've known since kindergarten, he and I were like one of the few only white kids in this whole school, right? He got married when he went to the Marines, the same gal that was in the same, well, they're on the same base, but I think they're from the same area too. So they're both from the St. Louis area. Uh, they hooked up. They got married. I went to their wedding over in Camp Pendleton. I forget how many years they were married exactly, but they had one kid. And for whatever reason, she just got disillusioned with it and wanted a divorce. Thankfully, he has custody. I'm very glad about that. But from what he's telling me, it's just that generic, oh, I just want to party. I just want to go out and play around. Da, da, da. I mean, come on, it's vanity. And what sucks is that she actually grew up in a more conservative household, so you would think that they taught her more conservative values, like don't play around. If you get married, stick to it. Don't be stupid. Don't be vain. Don't chase, just stupid shit. Don't chase worldly stuff. No, somehow that flew over her head. And maybe they did teach her that, but something about becoming an adult or something, they just want to do dumb shit. I don't know, but she wanted a divorce, so there's that. Um, I won't. I will say, he does blame himself a bit because he did something he wasn't supposed to. So it takes two to tango. But at the same time, she was the one who initiated the divorce, so I don't know. But who's next? My dad, my own flesh and blood father. He was married to my stepmother for 20 years. So before her, he was with my mother, and then they had me. They were together for only like 2 years or something after the fact. So when I was like 2 years old, they broke up, and then she went off and met my stepdad. My dad was married to my stepmom for 20 years or so. She divorced him because he couldn't even really tell why, but I can probably tell why. Because her sister divorced her husband, who she had a kid with, and went on to meet some older guy who had a lot of money. And now suddenly she wants to divorce my dad, even though he's stable, hardworking, takes care of the kids. He don't smoke. He hardly ever drinks. He's not addicted to drugs. He's not abusive. The worst thing was he used to be angry. And I can't blame him. But he mellowed out as he got older. Apparently, that's a thing. You get more mellow when you get old. I don't know. But 20 years of marriage down the drain because, oh, no, she said he wasn't changing. Well, what the fuck did he need to change, man? Dude is 6 foot tall, or no, like 6'3", barrel chested, big. Like if he worked out, he'd be the fucking Hulk. She divorced him. I don't know. It's again more vain fucking mindsets. My own mother. Dear old mommy, mommy dearest. I think she actually tried cheating on my stepdad twice, but I don't remember what the first one was. But later on, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, uh, she got coaxed into some false idea of a relationship with some guy online. He claimed he saw her at the grocery store and that he fell in love with her. They talked. And it's like if you talked to him, you would remember who he was, but apparently not. You know, blondes, what can you say? Um, and he told her, like, oh, I'm in the Navy. I'm going to retire, but soon I can put my money away. It was just a scam. He wanted her to buy all these fucking iPod gift cards and all this shit. Thankfully, she was smart enough to go, wait a minute, this seems kind of weird. And, she talked to the cops about it, and like, yeah, that's a scam. I mean, if you don't need to be a fucking cop to figure that one out. But after that, she didn't go for anymore. But I'm like, Mom, why would you even fall for something like that? You're with Tim. And I was mad at her. I was yelling at her. I'm like, she's like, because I wanted to get married. I'm like, you're basically already married. Yeah, you didn't have a wedding, you didn't wear a stupid dress, but this man put a ring on it, an engagement ring, and he's been with you for 20 years. That's essentially marriage. And don't have to have a fucking a ceremony or whatever. The ceremony's just there to provide a witness so people say, yeah, I was there, they're married. So when there is a divorce, people can say, oh, yeah, they were married, but I guess now they're divorced. You need a witness for it. You know? But she got offended. She's like, oh, what did I do to you? When I was yelling at her, I'm like, this isn't about you. See, again, more vain mindset. She thinks this is about her. No, this is about it. What is it? It's the loyalty. The loyalty that Tim showed you, but you for some fucking reason can't show it back to him. And that's why I don't like my fucking mother. Because she's stupid. Like, damn, man. My own flesh and blood. I just want to beat the shit out of every one of them. And they wonder why I don't give them my fucking phone number. I don't want you to have my fucking phone number. I hope you're watching this video. That's right. If my brother's watching this video, you go show her this. Tell her how much of a dumb whore she is. Stupid fuck. That's the biggest one right there. Because that, come on, man. When your own parents do dumb shit, that just, like, I've seen teenagers, their parents argue and they start getting sad. No, that'll just make me mad. I don't get, come on now. All right, so my grandpa, not flesh and blood, adopted. I met them a handful of years ago at a small church. They're basically like my grandparents. They helped me out. They're decent people. My grandpa was originally married to his first wife for 20 years, I guess. Maybe 30. I'm not sure. Somewhere between that, 20 to 30. She passed away. I don't know if it was cancer or some other kind of disease, but she passed away. And he said it messed him up. He didn't really explain to what extent, but he said when you dedicate your life to someone you love like that for that amount of years and they're just suddenly gone and you're just expected to live on the rest of your life without them, that messes you up. So this is him telling me this. I'm not assuming this. So I guess because he was emotionally vulnerable, he got remarried to my grandmother. She had been remarried twice. She had a first husband. I think one of them was abusive. The other one, I don't know. So my grandpa is her third husband. He regrets getting married. He stays married despite him not liking it. But he made a vow, he sticks with it. I can respect that, right? You know, you think they're both in their 70s. It's like if you get divorced, like what now? You know, you might as well just stay together, I guess. That's not like either of them are abusive to each other, but it's just she constantly nags him about the dumbest shit. And this could just be old people being fussy, but no, it's basically kind of manipulative because she's tried to give me like hugs when they're arguing, try to like coax me to her side. She literally told me one time I don't have to listen to him. These are people who believe in God who are supposedly following Jesus. I love her, but I don't fucking respect her after she told me that. Like, that is the man of the household. Yahweh put him there as a man. So wherever he goes, whoever he married, whoever he has kids with, he's the head of that household. You aren't. You need to step down. It's one reason I don't go over and visit them that much. Because I don't want to see her. I don't give a shit about her really that much. I kind of... it's stupid. So I feel bad for my grandpa, but after all he told me, and then seeing there, and I lived with him for several months. Oh man, they're like the dynamic between them was pissing me off. Like I wanted to do something, you know. My violent nature was coming out, but obviously, if I got violent and did anything, that would just make things worse, you know. But he told me, don't get married, just don't. And he was a Vietnam vet too. And speaking of Vietnam vets, my uncle, again, not flesh and blood, but I met him a handful of years ago where I moved him to where I'm at now. He's family. I don't give a shit about blood. Uh, he's a Vietnam vet, Army Ranger. He's been blown up. He's been all through all kinds of shit, man. If anybody can endure pain, it's him. He knows pain. This guy's psychotic almost. He said he was diagnosed as a psychopath. I told him, no, that's stupid. You're not a psychopath. At the very most, you're a sociopath. But even then, it doesn't matter because you're an orphan. You didn't have proper parents. You had to fight to survive. That's just how it was. You're not a psychopath. You're not a sociopath. Just, you know, just understand. Just reflect and say, okay, shit was bad. I was bad, but now I'm going to do better. But, he told me not to get married. Or as he said, beware the daughters of Eve. Whatnot, right? You know, he's never been married. He's never had kids. Um, but, you know, he sees how things are, and he said, yeah, basically just said don't get married. So you have two Vietnam vets who went to war, who know suffering, who know pain. They are the cream of the crop. They're telling me not to get married. Wisdom of the elders. You know? They're not like Red Pill or MGTOW or whatever. No, these guys fucking know. Oh, I just remembered something. Yeah. All right. So, my previous employer, he owns a boat lift repair shop. I worked for him for 8 months. I quit because I was just tired of the bullshit. I don't have any problem with him though. It's just overall people being people and being toxic. You know, I'm antisocial. If I start to detect certain people are gonna piss me off, I either have to do something about them or I gotta leave. So I choose to leave. I'd rather not go to jail. I'm just saying. No, I'm not tough. No, I'm not a thug. No, I'm not a con or whatever. I just get tired of people's bullshit. I'm part ginger. You can't really tell, but there's red hair. I get angry. It's just how we are. If you don't believe it, then you don't know gingers. Um, but my previous employer, he owns that boat repair or boat lift repair maintenance place, and he's also a mayor of a small community, right? His wife divorced him. I don't know the story about it, but I've known she just across the street. I've seen her going in and out of this house. I think she took some of his property. I've seen her sometimes. She'll drive up to the shop in her fucking red SUV or whatever. I'm like, why is this bitch around here, man? If I had an ex-wife, I would say, get the fuck away from me then. Don't ever look at me. But she just pulls it like she owns the place. It's like, damn, man. She probably just wanted him for his money. It's probably what it was. You know, being a mayor, owning a business. And then she divorced him to go marry another guy, probably. The guy across the street who owns another boat-related thing. And then she's going to divorce him. I don't know. It's just another thing I saw. Another woman wanted to divorce a guy who has decent amount of money. Anyway, but then my coworker from that same place, he was married. I think he divorced her. I don't know if she divorced him or he divorced her, but he said that she let herself go. Like, she got like obese. She's probably doing other shit. I don't know. And to be fair, you think, well, you got married, you should stick through it. But I can't judge because I've never been married, so I don't know how it is. I'm just saying this is what happened. They had a home together, and I guess a couple cars maybe. They had kids, a handful of them. When they got divorced, she took him for basically everything. He had no vehicle. He didn't get the house. He didn't get the kids. Now he's got to pay maybe alimony, but at the very least, he got to pay child support. This dude was eating only peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for I don't know how long. Before I met him, but he was telling me this shit. I'm like, damn, man. Like, just peanut butter and jelly and sandwiches. So bread, peanut butter, jelly, that's it. Probably didn't drink any milk. Probably only drank water for all I know. But that's how much he made, very little money. And it was only recently I was taking him to work because he didn't have a car. One of his friends he knows fixed up a truck and sold it to him pretty cheap. And he said, if you want to pay for it over time, you can, and so on. So that was the only way he was able to get a vehicle, was because someone was willing to fucking help him out. There was no way this guy was ever going to get a vehicle with his current financial status. Now, it would probably help if he didn't smoke weed or get tattoos or all this shit. You know, it is what it is. But this dude's basically a slave to his ex-wife, man. He said he would have quit that job that he and I met at a long time ago. You know, but he can't because he has to stay at a job to make money so he can pay for the child support and all that shit. And on top of that, get rent. And it's very little wiggle room to do anything else. You know, I think the only time he gets his extra shit is when the quarterly bonus comes around, and then he tries to make it last. So I guess if he gets weed, he just buys like a certain amount and then just like smokes very little bit, a little bit at a time. Probably shouldn't do it at all. But then again, he's under so much stress that's probably his only stress relief right there. You know? Oh, and I guess sometimes he goes to bars. So not the best example in that way. But again, people getting divorced, the man being the slave, is what it is. There was this judge. You can probably find him on YouTube. I found it on YouTube. There was this judge who'd been married to his wife for 50 years. All right. He needed like a kidney or a liver or something. He needed a transplant, right? And he was looking for his two sons to see if they could do it. Come to find out they're not compatible. Even though they're his own kids, it's like, why would they not be compatible? They share the same DNA. Apparently they don't. So he takes the woman to court, his wife, and the judge reads it off. She says, "You are not the father. This dude was married to her for 50 years, and she was cheating on him this whole fucking time. Told him those kids were his, they weren't. And when the judge read it off saying he wasn't the father, she's like, don't you, I love you, I love you. There's your fucking love. 50 years of lies. That's what happens, man. They take advantage of you. That manipulative Jezebel bullshit. You think the man is supposed to be head of the household, but these women, they got tricks. Tricks are for kids. Anyway. And then you got these fucking teenagers. They think they're going to have an online relationship. They're getting relationships on VR chat or whatever. No. They even had a documentary about people finding love on VR chat. Some of the motherfuckers broke up from that documentary. Like, really? These online relationships don't fucking work. And if they do, it's the extreme minority, man. People break up constantly. That shit only lasts maybe a handful of months. And then on the rare occasion, you'll get somebody who's together. Like, yeah, you're together by looking at each other on a screen. Like, what? But you'll get some of them who are together for like a year and a half, but they still break up. You know, I tried telling them, like, no, it doesn't work. Why? If it doesn't work for these guys who are much older than you, smarter than you, make more money than you, stronger than you, just overall better than you, and they're getting divorced, why the fuck do you think you have a fucking chance? You delusional ass person. And then you got that one teenager, that fucking Christian, who thinks it's okay to date outside of the religion. I told him, no, I'm pretty sure God did not tell you to date her. Like, why would he tell you to date outside the faith? He said, well, I did pray about it. Well, then you ain't listening. You didn't get the response that you wanted, so you decided to make up your own delusional bullshit. And every time you would say, oh, she says she wants to start praying together. Isn't that crazy, Austin? Like he's trying to get egotistical about it. Like, see, things are going the way I want. Not like you said, Austin, haha. It's like, you dumb fuck. She can lie, you know? She can just string you along. Just, oh yeah, I'll become Christian one day, Caleb. Just come back down here. Oh. He's a fucking simp. I heard him be like, what's wrong? Why are you in a bad mood today? Talking to his girlfriend. I'm like, you sound like a bitch. I don't give a fuck if a woman's in a bad mood. Go somewhere. Go make some food. Maybe you'll feel better. And if you ever get an attitude with me, I'm going to throw your ass outside. Shut up. This is my house. But, and that, with that shit, okay? If you're part of a faith, a particular faith, right? You know, but in this case specifically Christian, you should know what the Bible says about men who date outside the faith. What happened to King Solomon? Had all these wives and concubines. He got his wisdom straight from Yahweh. What happened? All them women who were worshiping Baal, they led him astray. Just led him astray. And he started worshiping Baal, and that's when he lost everything. Like, duh. Like, it's just not how it works. When you are a man of God and you're dating someone, a woman outside the faith, she will drag you down. There is no pulling her up. She doesn't want to be pulled up. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. There it is. You got to protect yourself. You only go with a woman that is on the same path as you. And even then, you still need to pray and fast. Like, is this the one? Or at least a one? There really is no the one. It's more like an upper echelon of ones. You know? Like a 5 percentile or some shit. Samson. You know, he has long hair and he was real strong because he was a Nazarite. But the woman he fell in love with kept trying to get his secrets. And then eventually he gave in and they cut his hair off and he lost all his power. And then they plucked his eyes out. And then he died, and even though he pushed the pillars and the fucking pillars came crashing down and killed all the people with him, it still could have gone way better than that, man. He could have just stayed away from her, found a godly woman, or just stayed single. It's straight up in Scripture. It says some people are appointed to marriage, some are not. Marriage is an option. It's not mandatory. You don't have to have kids. That's not where your value comes from. Your value comes from purifying yourself as an individual so God can take you up to where He is. It is not your job to have kids. It is not your job to get married. Find a greater purpose than someone else. King David, he went for another man's woman. Granted, he shouldn't have been trying to do that, so it's more his fault than anything. But at the very least, the woman could have said, no, I am married. Why are you trying to get me to get away from my marriage? But no, fell for it because he's the king. He can do whatever he wants. He ended up getting her husband killed by putting him on the front lines with the intent to get him killed. And then she was all sad about it. And then God rebuked David and said, well, if you want to know, go look it up. But, again, being tempted by a woman led him astray. But again, that was more his fault than the woman's fault. So, Job's wife, Job, who God said was perfect, and Satan's like, no, just take away his stuff. He'll fall away. And God's like, okay, let's test it out. He couldn't kill him, but killed all his kids, killed all his cattle, destroyed his house, did all this crazy shit. And his wife said, why are you still... I'm going to summarize here. I don't remember the exact words, but basically saying, like, how are you still faithful? Just curse God and die. His own wife telling them this. To curse God and die. Bitch! What the fuck? The only reason why he's alive is because of his faith. Like, what the fuck? The woman trying to tempt him away from his position. And then with that, King David, when he was dancing before God, she's like, oh, you look like a fool dancing like that. Again, bitch, this was not... You don't exist in this relationship. That is between David and God. If God thinks he's a fool, he's going to tell him that. But God don't care. David was dancing because he was joyful. God made him joyful, so he danced. There it is. So, what's the solution? So I like to provide solutions if I can, right? And I've already kind of mentioned what it was just a minute ago. It's like, okay, so relationships are broken. You don't want to get in a relationship because something bad's going to happen. If you're in the faith or you're out the faith, it's just, overall, it's not worth it, right? So what's the solution? What do you do as a man? I don't know about the women. I don't care at this point. But what do you do as an individual? Improve yourself. And if you're in the red pill MGTOW, you've probably already heard this, but you improve yourself. Go use your sexual energy for something else. Go work out. That's the most obvious one. Go work out. Go jog. Build up your cardio. Go to the gym. If you don't go to the gym, pick up some dumbbells from Walmart or wherever. Or if you don't have the money to do that, just do push-ups, do crunches, do sit-ups, do split squats, do all this shit. Just do calisthenics. Burn that energy out, and then find your creative side. Go learn something. Do you like writing? Do you like art overall? Do you like music? Do you want to teach? Do you want to go build something? Make that your fucking purpose in life and go for it. Just I think there's a thing where a lot of these geniuses, all these very successful men, don't really get successful until they're in their 50s or 60s. But that's because when they were young, they were chasing women, trying to have kids, and if they had kids, they had to wait about 20 years before they could kick them to the curb, be like, all right, I'm going to focus on myself again. So you could be that genius right now, in your late teens, early 20s, or even your 30s. Do it now. And you will be way better than everybody else, right? It just seems like people want romantic relationships because they don't have a purpose in life. You take away the children and women from them, and they just give up. It's like they don't want to exist anymore. It's like there are higher purposes in life than just breeding, man. I think it's also this weird brainwashing that comes from industrial society. Like, no, you got to have kids for the economy. You gotta increase the birth rate because it's apparently your fucking job to worry about if the birth rate is above replacement level or not. Like, it's not. It's not your job. It's your job to take care of yourself first. And then, if you have the resources come to you, whether it be money, land, wisdom, whatever, then maybe you can help take care of other people. You have to purify yourself. You have to improve yourself. You got to build yourself up. And then, if it's convenient to do so, if you have the ability to do so, bring other people up with you. Right? Purify yourself, then you can purify others. Judge yourself, then you can judge others. Not to condemn them, but to correct them, to uplift them, to help them get better. Judging is not bad. It's condemning them that's bad. It's like, oh, you're a piece of shit, you'll never get better. No, don't say that. Everybody can get better. You just have to want to get better. Right? I have written on here, Eve. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the root word of evil is Eve. Because that was when evil really came about. Yeah, we're talking from a biblical standpoint. If you don't believe it, then it's going to fly over your head. But men and women were more basically equal. They were even back in that day. But then when Eve got tempted and she did all this shit, she was lowered. And it's written that a woman's desire will always be to her husband. That's just how it's going to be. The man will always be the head of the household. He'll always be stronger than her, smarter than her, have more authority than her. She can't handle stress nearly as much as the man can because we have testosterone. Women technically have testosterone, but it's a very tiny amount. That's why I don't trust female cops. Get them the fuck away from me because they'll pull their guns out sooner than a male cop because they can't handle it. They're physically incapable of doing it. Because once they run out of that little bit of testosterone in their mind, the panic attack sets in and bam, 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 bam. I've seen a video where two female cops freaked out over nothing and they just unload. Boom, 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 boom. Like the whole fucking clip of the fucking gun, the magazine. Over nothing because they saw something that, it looked like something bad might have happened, but it was nothing. So it's just how it is. Women are vain. They're evil because of what happened with Eve. And it ain't going to get better until Christ comes back for his millennial reign. So, what do? Improve yourself. Fast, pray, build up your faith. And if for some reason you're not into spirituality, well, just work out. Make whatever money you can for yourself. Do all that shit, right? Again, it's not your job to breed. It's not your job to have kids or to have a wife. It's your job to take care of yourself because God made you an individual. And then if he sends people your way, then okay. But you need to get on your purpose first, right? And if you look at my channel, I had 2 videos of like anime girls dancing. I deleted that. And I said in my previous video I wasn't going to delete it, but I changed my mind. Do you want to know why? Because I've been struggling with masturbation for a long time. I thought, oh, well, it's a sin, then it's not. Then it is, then it's not. Okay, well, the other day I looked at something I wasn't supposed to. I felt like my protection was taken from me. I just felt stupid. I'm like, oh, damn, something bad's going to happen. So I tried reading the Psalms aloud, and I'm sitting on my bed, trying to make it up for what I did wrong. I get up to go brush my teeth. I hear some shit in my bathroom. I'll have water running, the electricity's not on. It sounds like static, like a hard paper or hard plastic bag, like someone going. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? I didn't look in the bathroom. I was just a few strides away from it. And I'm like, Jesus rebuke you, go away. And then it stopped. And I'm like all spooked out. I got goosebumps. I'm like, oh. So I start playing worship music and whatnot. And then I text my uncle. And he's like, or I text him like, is there anything weird going on where you're at? And he's like, before you texted me, I had the desire to pray. Like something was telling me to pray. It's because that fucking noise I was hearing was a demon trying to manifest in my bathroom. And it was only allowed to try to do that because I did something I wasn't supposed to. So don't, so if, okay, so if you're not going to get married, you're not going to have kids, don't look at porn, do not masturbate, stay away from anything sexual. Just pretend like, just imagine that you have been exiled from sexuality overall. Like you get a boner, nope. Ignore it. Stay away from it. Because for some, it's just how it is, man. That scared the shit out of me because I was like, damn, I'm really fucking up, aren't I? So yes, just stay away from basically anything sexual. Anything. It's a struggle, I know, because it's always a temptation. It's just how we are as men. We desire it. You know. It is what it is, so thank you for watching. Hopefully this helps somebody. If not, oh well.